Hey, Andrew, guess what?
What's that, Sam?
Hurricanes lost against Buffalo, but they went 2-1-1 on this road trip.
Just like the season as a whole, could be better, but all things considered, I think we got us a hockey team.
Yes, we do. Yeah, Andrew, looking at this four-game road trip, I would say it's a successful road trip. Again, did not like that loss. We will recap that, but overall, I thought the Canes did pretty good overall on this road trip.
Yeah, four straight on the road. You had Chatfield rotating back into the lineup. Some questionable choices that came with that.
Hmm.
But overall, man, if you're getting 5 of 8 on the road consistently, you're going to put yourself in a good position if you handle your business at home.
Exactly. And we know how good and dominant the Canes usually are at home. So a huge part of that obviously is the team, but a good part of it, I would say, Andrew, I'm sure you would agree, is the fans. The fans make it a little bit tough as well for visiting teams to come play here.
Oh yeah, they talk about it all the time, but it really is one of the loudest buildings, at least of the ones on the East Coast that I've been to. So the Caniacs bring it every night, and the guys really feel from it. So after a game like tonight, where they really could have used some help, kind of getting some legs, maybe there's a little bit of a sickness going through the locker room. You could tell that they never fully woke up today.
Yeah, you could kind of tell about that. But first things first, like we usually do, is podcast news. So just letting you guys know we have a great partnership with SeatGeek. You get $20 off of your first purchase if you use promo code Caniac Reports. All one word is a great deal if you're trying to save money on some tickets. Hey, up and coming right here, 7-game homestand. So great time to use it. And another thing too, for you guys listening to us on Apple Podcast, we have the Caniac Report Plus, just another way for you to listen to our episodes, but they're ad free. So if you really do not like listening to ads, that's for you. And please remember, hit like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another episode. If you're watching us on YouTube, and if you are listening to us wherever you get your podcast, please leave a rating and a review. It really does help us out. And remember, this is the only episode for this week. There will not be an episode of this Friday because of Thanksgiving time and all that type of stuff. So, yes. So, Andrew, the only NHL news I want to cover, because we do have 2 games to discuss, is Colorado. Man, they are just a lethal team this year. And because of that, they are the fourth team in NHL history with one regulation loss in their first 20 games. I'll admit that is crazy, Andrew.
Yeah, it's a very impressive start by them, but we knew this team had the potential to go off like this. It seems like Nate just has really settled in there, but Nathan McKinnon just leads the charge, and I think this season he's putting up a very solid argument that maybe he is in fact the best player in the entire league.
Oh, I would completely agree. And I mean, not to discount Nedges or anything, it's just you put any player up playing on that line with McKinnon, they're going to be great. And not to mention, Andrew, you obviously have probably one of the best defensemen in Kale McCarr.
I think the best
Yeah.
defenseman, and I don't know if it's even particularly close with all due respect to guys like Quinn Hughes and our guy Slavin, but just such a game changing player. Really, he and Nate are both just absolutely generational talents. So we'll see if they can keep it going. But as of right now, I'd say they're the team to beat.
Oh yeah, I think they're the scariest team by far in the entire league. So that again, that's kind of it I want to talk about with the NHL news. Now we're gonna get to talking about the Hurricanes here, Andrew, and we do have some good news as Jalen Chatfield he returned in the Winnipeg game, and obviously we already talked about who might get scratched. Well, Brendan Moore decided to go left field.
Yeah, he did.
Left field, nobody predicted this at all. We were thinking maybe Riley or Nystrom, but he decided to scratch Nikishin. And what are your thoughts on that?
Knowing it now, with hindsight being 2020, now knowing that it only lasted one game, he had made a couple of plays throughout the games leading up to it where, a couple of sloppy turnovers. The Canes have been caught kind of being soft on the outbreaks, mostly on their own blue line, which has led to some very easy goals for the opposition. So you just give a guy who, even though he's 24, he has the resume, he has all the hype, he's still a rookie in this league. So you give him a day to sit down, just kind of watch it, and then he's back the next game. And I think you could tell in tonight's game that he was feeling a little bit of the pressure, but once he got settled into it, the future's bright. I don't think there's any reason to freak out over one game.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree. From a developmental side, like I'm not freaking out with him scratching Nikishin. Now, when it comes to just that game time choice right there, I would say I kind of disagree with the call. Again, I'm not freaking out in terms of development issues, but it's just I just think just from looking at this from a performance standpoint, I think you probably would scratch Riley. I mean, Nystrom, he's been playing very, very good, and I think the reason why I didn't like the healthy scratching was because, I mean, yeah, he is a rookie, but at the same time, we know his potential. And again, I'm not really concerned with the development side of things. It's just I don't think that was a good choice. That's just my opinion. I just did not think that was a good choice because I just think you always need to go for performance. And okay, who's the player that is not performing the least out of, let's say, Nikishin, Riley, Nystrom, and I'd probably pick Riley. What are your thoughts on the performance side of things?
Yeah, same. And we discussed this in the last episode that it's not a slight to Riley at all, who has been absolutely vital in keeping this season afloat. But Nystrom has really found his groove on this team, and it's crazy that this guy was a 7th round pick because he had a couple of games to kind of get up to speed, and since then he's been noticeable. He hasn't just been that typical, he played 14 minutes, we didn't notice him. Okay, he didn't make a mistake. That's a good thing for a rookie. No, he's been he's been an impactful player. But Nikishin, when he's on his game, when he's throwing the body, when he's actually shooting the puck, which I wonder if maybe that had something to do with it, is I feel like he's been a little timid to let it rip the last few games.
Yes, I agree.
So maybe it was just Rod, giving the kid a day just to kind of take a mental day, which I think we all need those sometimes at work.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree from like the work aspect. It's just I will admit I was not thrilled with the decision, but again, you feel free to agree to disagree on that and move on.
Yep, exactly. One game.
Yeah, it really is just one game. Another thing too that was reported, and Andrew, this I will admit it a little bit caught me by surprise. But Elliot Friedman last night reported that Svechnikov. This was during the time where Svechnikov was not getting any points in his first 8-9 games. Well, apparently it was reported that Svechnikov would not mind a trade, but obviously now we know Svechnikov, he's back on the first line. He's getting the ice time. I mean, that was his main reason of the possible trade avenue is because of his ice time. And I mean, what are your thoughts when that got reported?
From going from the top down of the Hurricanes, I bet management and ownership is probably wondering how this got out, because if there's any source that you can trust, it is Elliot Friedman. So I have no doubt that this is that this is legit. But you have to figure this is something that happens a lot throughout the season. Guys go through a dip, they start to get frustrated. We've all had a day where we've told our boss off at like the end of a shift, and the next day are like, hey, sorry, it was a bad day. But struggling, I think we've all have discussed maybe a change of scenery might do him some good, and even flipping him for, say, a center of equal potential might actually be better for the team. But now that he's turned it on and we're seeing a bit of this, the Svech that was promised, then now I think it will work out. I think it was just a blip. He was probably frustrated with himself, and then it just happens to get out. But I have no doubt that things like this happen all the time.
Oh yeah, I agree. I'm sure it happens a lot more than just this scenario. But I will say I do find it interesting because even though, like, listen, I'm loving this fetch that we're seeing right now. I really am, Andrew.
Hmm.
But as you know from seeing him, 500 games already. His 500th game was obviously today against Buffalo. Congrats on that milestone, really. But I mean, you and I know through his career, there are lapses that he goes through where he doesn't get any points. So when I saw that, I was like, well, what's the chances he goes through a lapse like this again? And that question comes up. It's very interesting to think about what this could mean in the future,
Yeah, definitely. I do think there's something to be said about when you come out the gate as slow as he did.
Hmm.
When all the media kind of has their hype around the new season. I do think the microscope is on the top end guys when they do go through a slump, and it was a exceptionally quiet slump. It wasn't like he
Yes.
was playing well and was just hitting the post a bunch with Ehlers when he was struggling. We could say, okay, I can see that it's going to work out. He just needs to get a little bit of puck luck and maybe find some new line mates.
Yeah, we see the effort.
Right, exactly. Svetch is all but liability to the point that I was bringing up with no real reason to bring it up other than just, recognizing a fellow human. Maybe he's got some stuff going on off the ice, but now that he's settled in, it seems like he's having fun playing hockey again. And I see this as kind of a non-story that just, Friedman can't not report that if that comes across his desk. But I wouldn't be surprised if Dundon or Tulsky wasn't like, come on, man, really?
Yeah, and it was also reported too in the fact that Friedman did say, "Listen, if Svechnikov was going to get traded, there had to be a monster return, like something that actually benefits the Hurricanes." And I don't think there's a team that's willing to do that, to be honest. And I mean, I honestly don't know, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, I'm trying not to do a comparison because do think there are two different completely players, but I mean, Hurricanes a little bit already have that reputation of trading Netris to Colorado, and now he's exploding. So
Mm.
it's just one of those things where uh, it you see that comparison I'm trying to make there. Just like I'm sure you don't want another thing of trading Svetch, another high talented player like Netris, and he goes off and explodes somewhere else.
Right, and there does seem like since this came out, and people have loved to run with a small story, and make something bigger out of it. It seems like they're trying to spin this narrative that Rod scares off talent, which I think is crazy. When you look at the chances that this team creates, they're having a couple of more skilled players and a couple of goalies stepping up away from having deeper playoff runs. So
Hmm.
I think when you look at this team with a fair and honest viewpoint, it's maybe you could say Dundon was cheap about the Getzel thing. I do tend to kind of agree with that.
Yep.
But
Hmm.
as far as guys wanting to come here, I mean, you look at sure, Nate just went to go play with Nathan McKinnon and is having great stats. Like, yeah, no kidding. With all due respect to Aho, he's not Nathan McKinnon. You and I could play with Nathan McKinnon and just keep our sticks on the ice, and we're going to get some tap ins.
Yeah.
But from I just I don't see how you look at the success that this team has and think that players don't want to come here, especially when guys like Jack Roslovic, who, maybe was entering a phase in his career where maybe he has to go to the KHL and kind of earn it. Same thing with like an Eric Robinson. They come here and now, granted, Roslovic went on to play with the Oilers and or Roslovic did that, but now Robinson has a steady contract and good pay. So there's two sides to it.
Yeah, there definitely is. And I mean, honestly, I am not trying to obviously use this as a way to like berate Brind'Amour's system because I do agree. Like, especially he was not playing good in those first 8 games. He really wasn't.
Mhm.
And I think that needs to be considered too. But now he is back to playing good. It's just a matter of consistency with him going forward. Can he show up like that game in, game out? Obviously, again, we'll recap the Buffalo game. I mean, I a lot of players didn't really show up for us in that game. It wasn't just Fetch. But overall, we'll see how um, that story goes. But regardless, I do think Fetch stays here. It was reported also that he's the cornerstone piece here.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, when he's on his game, you can see what he has the potential to become, and that's one of the best power forwards in the league, and especially these past playoffs, we start to see that finally start to come to fruition. But people forget because he's been here for a while. He's still just kind of entering those prime years of his career. So
Yep.
let's hope he can just continue to build confidence and actually believe in playing the way that we need to see him play, and not trying to be this finesse guy.
Exactly. Well, Andrew, let's get to a sponsor, and then we'll be recapping the Winnipeg and the Buffalo game. Turkeys, touchdowns, and takes. It's Thanksgiving, and the action doesn't stop at the dinner table. Feast on some winnings this holiday with Pick 6, DraftKings' newest fantasy pick'em game. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. It's that simple. Pick 6 brings you upside those other pick'em sites can't touch. The better you perform, the bigger your payout. And it's available in most states, including Texas, California, Georgia, and more. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. New DraftKings customers can play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call, ride the upside in partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Alrighty, Andrew. The Winnipeg game. The game that Ehlers comes back to the team he originated from in the league. And what did you think of that tribute that Winnipeg had for Ehlers?
Yeah, classy move by Winnipeg. You can tell that he meant a lot to his teammates in that city. And I can see why. He's a really good player, and I'm glad he got recognition for his time there, but glad that he's with us now.
Oh, I am too. Thank you, Winnipeg, for whatever you did that made him go to free agency. But but I did see that tribute. I also saw Ehlers' reaction too. You can tell he was a little bit emotional just from watching that tribute, and it makes sense. Like that was his only team, and that was the team he was drafted by too. So now he's obviously with us, and obviously Andrew, we have Brandon Bussey in net in this game. I actually thought Brandon Bussey did really good in this game. I don't blame any of the 3 goals on him.
No, not at all. He continues to keep this goalie trifecta interesting. I think people have been a little too harsh on Freddie, but he hasn't been at his best. And PK's had 2 great games, 2 bad games. Bussey has been maybe the most consistent goalie of the 3 of them, at least in the small sample size that we've seen him in. So, yeah, something to continue to keep an eye on.
Yes. Now, in the first period, Andrew, we got to see Stahl be like, I can still score. And that's exactly what he did. He made a ridiculous deke and was able to score almost I think it was kind of top shelf on the goalie there. And that was very impressive. That was like, was it 13 seconds in, Andrew? It was
something
quick.
like that. Yeah, very quick. Almost immediately off the draw that they were taking it into their zone. But yeah, Jordo is turning back the clock a little bit so far this season because he's still playing great defense, but he's showing that he does occasionally have that scorer's touch. So love what that third line's been doing so far this year.
Oh, I have too. But obviously, you have Morrissey and Velarde scoring. The interesting thing on the Morrissey goal, Andrew, like that kind of started with obviously it was kind of off of a rush, but it looked like Carolina might challenge that goal because Shifley looked like he might. I thought it looked like he was offside, but it was really, really close. What do you think of that?
I I think when it's really close like that, unless you're getting a call from the video coach like the second the play is over, you might just be better off letting it slide. Usually, when the penalty kill is cooking the way that we know it should be, you might be a little bit more confident, but that's actually kind of been a growing concern. So I think Rod just said, you know what, I'd rather just concede that one goal and just keep it rolling and let the boys fight back.
Exactly. I think that was the biggest thing when it came to that situation. It wasn't so much the call; it was the fact that okay, how's our penalty kill been doing? Because if we get this wrong, obviously we're going on the penalty kill. But the penalty kill is kind of letting quite a few goals. So that might be a bit of a hot take, but I feel like that's kind of what it was there. The ultimate point of whether to challenge or not. But obviously, you have that. Then you had the Velarde goal, Andrew, and that was just to me a bad line change from Carolina. And it's funny because obviously we just talked about Nikishin. Mike Riley kind of gave the puck away, and that's another example of us just giving up these goals. Like this, it kind of does need to stop because it is hurting us.
Yeah, the area between our blue line and center ice has been a house of horrors so far for this team. I feel like when they're in their own zone, they're still playing pretty good defense. Their forecheck, even though a few guys haven't fully reached their potential yet this season, has still been good. It's that trying to get into the transition game or trying to clear it out where I don't know if it's guys are overcommitting to the rush or if these are just lazy breakout passes, but yeah, that these sloppy turnovers close to their own end and the penalty kill, I think, are the biggest real concern about this team right now.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like Mike Riley, we talked about him with the whole Nikishin thing, and it just makes you think like, wow, if Mike Riley was scratched, that might not have been a goal. I don't like to put that. I don't think that's a good mindset to have, to be honest. But it does make you wonder at the same time.
Right. It's when you're the guy who people think should be out instead, and then you're kind of put in the position of being the goat on one of these goals. Yeah, just really an unfortunate play by him. We've already made our feelings clear about how we thought that the Kishin
Yeah.
should have been in the lineup, but yeah, just a tough play, man. It happens. Sometimes you do have to give credit to the guys on the other side for forcing it too.
Oh yeah, you do. I will admit, like we talked about, like giving up plays and all that type of stuff. I will go give credit to our defense in some sort of way because honestly, I did not think Kyle Connor played that good in that game. I did not think he was that noticeable, and we know he's one of their best players.
Yeah, they've been doing a decent job so far at shutting down the other team's top guys. The issue has been, the opportunities that they do give up seem to all be like top tier opportunities. And when you pair that with, sometimes these games where the goalies get a little stagnant just because they are shutting down the other team that well, it's a bit of a recipe for disaster. But still, we're only a quarter of the way through the season. Some very big pieces still have to come back, and until Jacob Slavin's back, I'm not fully judging this team's defense. I'm just not, because that's the foundation of what this team wants to do in that regard.
Yeah, and it seems like because I think we heard from Mike during the game today against Buffalo that once they get back to Raleigh, we'll get an update on Slavin. So I hope it's good news because I am starting to miss Slavin just because of all these just giveaways that we're obviously creating in our own zone. But regardless, back to the Winnipeg game, Andrew. In the second period, Canes kind of do show up a little bit with some uh, good plays here. You have Stahl scoring off of it was just a beautiful tip from the Chatfield. Uh, could you tell that was more of a pass from Chatfield, or do you think that was like he was trying to actually shoot on net?
Looked like a put it towards the net and see what happens. But I mean,
Yeah.
that you have traffic crossing in, so they're going to be able to do it. But I mean, I don't know if Jordan Stahl's the guy that you fully expect to
Yeah.
to make that play. Like him scoring gritty goals around the net. We're used to seeing that. Him being oddly clutch in the playoffs and like overtime. We've seen that, but yeah, that was a high skill play by Jordo.
Oh, it was. And Stahl, he has 2 goals and he's on hat trick watch. Unfortunately, he didn't get a hat trick, but I really thought out of all the lines that played for us, I thought the Stahl line was the best line. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah, they've really been kind of setting the tone here lately. Them and the Stankoven line, just constant effort. They're doing all the little things right. They're playing Hurricanes hockey.
Yeah, definitely. And then you have a beautiful another short-handed goal, obviously, with Aho. He's kind of coming in. Uh, I think it was a breakaway, and obviously it doesn't go in, but you have Jarvis coming right behind him, and he scores. Just a great play. Love to see Jarvis score, Andrew. Obviously, I the thing with Jarvis, like he was putting up lots of goals early on this season. Has that quieted down a little bit? Yeah, it kind of has, but it's nice to see him scoring, and hopefully this kind of makes him kind of get back into the goal scoring ways he had early in the season. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he came out red hot and has since cooled off, and maybe he is a little banged up. He's definitely had a few brushes with disaster in recent games. But if there's anyone that I'm glad that they get a nice little stretch at home so that they can really just kind of settle into their game, I think Jarvis is going to benefit from it a lot.
Oh yeah, I do too. Because obviously at home, you and I know they get the last line change, which is very beneficial when it comes to because obviously Baltimore's going to put the stall line out there against the other team's stop line, so hopefully that gives the Aho line a little bit more free roam in terms of offense. And then in the third period, Andrew, guess what? A power play goal. Svechnikov scores from a great pass from Ehlers, and it was just a nice one-timer. I love seeing that.
Yeah, it's been really encouraging to see Svech using his slap shot this year. And now that Ehlers has kind of gotten settled in, he's really good at making those cross seam passes. So um, I think there's reason to be optimistic about what the power play has been doing. Even if it hasn't been getting results quite at the rate we would like, it doesn't look like it's draining the life out of this team. It's looking like even the ones that don't score, more often than not, it does generate some momentum, which is what you needed to at the very least be doing.
Yes, definitely. But obviously, there was some concern because you did have a lot Velarde scoring on that 2-on-1 chance there, Andrew. I will admit, on that goal, I kind of wish Chatfield paid more attention to the other player that didn't have the puck because that's usually how it goes, or at least lay down like Slavin does, Because I
Right.
didn't think Chatfield correlated that 2-on-1 chance. I don't think he correlated that good.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure he would tell you the same thing. I mean, usually you want to prioritize guarding the pass over the shot and kind of trust your goalie to do his job. But first game back, you make a
It
mistake.
is.
That's a mistake of a few inches of being out of position. It's just kind of a shoulder shrug moment for me.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to first games back after being gone for quite some time, you kind of do have to give some leniency to those players just because they're shaking off rust and just getting back into the groove of hockey. But we won regardless in that Winnipeg game. I have one more question on the Winnipeg game, Andrew, because even though we won, I didn't think offensively we had a lot of quality chances compared to like the Minnesota game, you know?
Yeah, kind of a theme of this weekend's games, and unfortunately, they were able to capitalize on enough opportunities in Winnipeg, at least.
And Boston, I thought they had lots of opportunities.
Yeah. Swayman's the only reason why that game wasn't a blowout. But
Yeah.
it's just a long road trip. They covered a lot of miles. I think whether it's the Winnipeg game, whether it's the game we just watched tonight against Buffalo. It wasn't perfect, but I think that the team overcame a lot, and 5 out of 8 points will take it.
Oh yeah, we definitely will. And let's get to the Buffalo game here, Andrew. Obviously, very rough game. You can tell something was kind of happening, and obviously, a big blow already. Jordan Stahl, he is not in the lineup, and you can like Jordan Stahl, like I mean, we talked about him getting goals there sometimes where he does go on these offensive spurts, but when he's out of the lineup, it shows.
Oh yeah, he's the rock.
Yep.
Even if he's not going to be putting up goals way that he has lately, he's someone that when Rod needs someone to go out there and maybe just kind of settle down the energy, maybe pin the other team in their own end for a little bit, that he's tapping Stahl's line almost every time. And even though the results weren't that great today, I thought that Jankowski did a halfway decent job stepping up into that role. I mean, he's not Jordan Stahl, so he got a graving on that curve, but hopefully it's just like a little stomach bug or something, and hopefully it doesn't spread around the team. But yeah, that's a tough ask to go 11-7 and Jordan Stahl not be one of those 11.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought up the 11-7 thing because even though you might be able to get away with like a win here now and then with that type of system, that's just not a good system long term. Obviously, of going 11-7. I'm not saying that was the reason that we lost. I think the reason why we lost this game, Andrew, was a combination of things. Giving the puck away too much, and I think our defense, we I think allowed Buffalo a little bit too much free roam there, and offense. It wasn't really until I would say probably the third period where we kind of started somewhat getting going, but even then, it just was not a good game.
No, it was just a quiet, sleepy, sloppy game from Carolina. This is one where I think the guys were probably looking forward to getting on the plane to go home, which, that's where human nature kicks in, but still, you got to dial it in a little bit and try to get the job done, which third period, you're right. They showed some legs. UPL had a couple of big saves there, but overall, just kind of a flush it game, I think. They've played well enough to kind of give themselves that little bit of a buffer that they can afford to have a few of these, but still just kind of a disheartening effort, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was. I mean, let's just go through the goals real quick. Alex Stuck, that's a power play goal. It really sucks just because it seems like our penalty kill is starting to allow more power play goals. But like we said, I believe in the last episode, Andrew, at some point it's going to get back up to playing very, very good. And plus, like you have Stall out too, so that even makes your penalty kill a little bit more challenging to stop goals like that.
Yeah, and on that goal, not to pile on Keandre Miller, but usually that's where Jacob Slavin is, and I don't think Jacob Slavin gets burnt on that cross ice pass.
No.
And Freddie, you can maybe say that he attacked a little bit too hard, but I think McLeod did a good job at holding the puck just long enough to convince him that it was definitely going to be a shot. So honestly, just kind of a good play from Buffalo on that first one.
It really was a good play. Now, obviously, we did score, and what's funny is, like, I mean, we had a couple of 2-minute power plays, but the power play that we scored on, it wasn't a full 2-minute power play. I think we only had 30, 40 seconds left, and you have Shane Gostisbehere scoring. And what's funny, I look at the NHL app, it was an unassisted goal, but I'm telling you, I probably would have given an assist to Jarvis there. Like, I mean, because Jarvis is right there in front of UPL.
Yeah, and he crashed the net. He followed Aho doing the same thing. I think he didn't get an assist from it because I do believe that
Buffalo did touch the puck.
Yeah, but it was the Buffalo guy cleared it, but it was the chaos that the two of them made that really led to the goal. So good heads up play by Ghost. It gave the guys a chance, but unfortunately they weren't able to build on it.
Yeah, and another thing too, I believe that happened in that first period, Andrew, is there was a goal that Buffalo thought they scored on, but it was challenged. Well, first refs waved it off, saying no goal because of interference. Buffalo challenged it, and refs were like, "Nope, no goal." What do you think of that play? Do you think refs got that play correct?
Yeah, I was a little surprised that it was a challenge to be honest of some of the close ones that we've seen that didn't really feel like one of the closer ones. And the last time
Because of the
Buffalo,
skate hit Anderson.
right, exactly. So was it a guy getting trucked? No, but I mean, based on how you know that they're going to protect that blue paint, I mean that seemed like a bit of a, maybe you could call it somewhat ticky tack, but I mean it's in the rule book. It was pretty clear.
Yes, exactly. And obviously, what's unfortunate is, I mean, it's not like when that goal remained as a no goal, it didn't really change the Hurricanes' way of the game because again, they kind of kept doing what they kept doing, giving the puck away, subpar defense, not really a lot of good offensive chances. And in the second period, you have Jack Quinn and Mallenstein scoring. I thought Mallenstein was probably Buffalo's biggest player in that game because I thought he was just flying.
Yeah, there were a couple of guys on Buffalo whose names I wasn't as familiar with as like the Tage Thompsons and the Owen Powers. Obviously they're towards the bottom right now, but you could tell that they have pieces there in Buffalo. It's just I don't know what they got to do to finally make that thing click because they've been in the dumpsters for insane amount of time now.
Feels like 100 years, even though it's only been like what 14, 15 years.
Right, which I mean, we all remember having a just short of a decade run kind of like this. Or actually, I think the Hurricanes might have been a little bit more brutal just because they were getting close and just kept missing by 4 or 5 points. But Buffalo's had some high draft picks in this time. It hasn't been like they've been in that like purgatory of mid like those mid-teens Canes were. But yeah, I think Tage Thompson is a guy that you can build around for them, and it's just a matter of some of these depth pieces trying to actually establish a consistent culture up there, I think.
Yeah. That Malestein goal, I was a little bit frustrated with Aho there
Hmm.
because like I know Aho when you see Aho, he's not a physical player by any means. But that's an area where you've got to play the body because he just got juked out.
Yeah, he's certainly not a power forward, but I wouldn't say he's someone that like usually shies away from it either. So that play again, like it's not an excuse. These guys are paid millions of dollars to do their best night in and night out, but it just kind of fell into that like, all right, this team is just off. This team is ready to go home and sleep in their own beds, but you gotta be better than that if you're going to be one of the leaders on this team. And that's not something I say about Aho very often from an effort standpoint. But in this one particular case, yeah, you could have done better, bud.
Yeah, he really could have. But no, that's it for talking about that Buffalo game. Obviously, they got the empty net goal, which was 4-1. And at that point, I was like, all right, getting ready to record.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. But regardless, good road trip. And Andrew, we're about to embark on a 7-game homestand. So this is going to be the last thing I want to talk about for this episode. What are your expectations? What's a good homestand that the Hurricanes are about to embark on?
I think I think going 5-2 would be a good way to kind of maybe give themselves a chance to create a little separation in the Metro. But it's going to be tough. So I hope y'all show up. I hope you're loud and try to rally these guys because there's a decent chance that they might be dealing with a bit of a bug here. So let's see if we can help them power through.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know, playing the Rangers on Wednesday night, Winnipeg Black Friday, Calgary, which is a week from today, Sunday, and then you have in December Toronto, Nashville, San Jose, Columbus, and that's a total of 14 points there. If you can get 10 points in any form or fashion, that's successful. So kind of like what you said, like 5-2, that'd be great.
Yeah, and at home, there's actually some, not that you can take anybody lightly. I mean, obviously they just lost to Buffalo, but there's some winnable games there, especially at home. So, hopefully
Calgary and Nashville are 2 games that you think of.
yeah, exactly. Those are 2 games they got to win. We were kicking the Rangers for a little while, but somehow they're the worst team at home and the best team on the road. So, that's definitely one to watch, because the Rangers, who are trying to turn the season around a little bit here, that's a game where I think we might see their fastball.
Yeah, I hope they win that game, because I'm taking my brother-in-law. He lives in Pensacola, but all of us are up here for Thanksgiving. That's going to be his first National Hockey League game that he's going to. So I hope we win that game just because of that,
Either way, you should at least get a pretty competitive chippy game. So, I mean, have fun, and hope your brother-in-law takes to the greatest sport on earth.
I completely agree. Well, everybody, have a nice Thanksgiving. We hope you guys enjoyed. Again, there's not going to be an episode on Friday, but we will resume next week with a Friday episode. So we will see you guys next week.